about the party with the dancing still we can with it. Soon we showed up in this funky little town. Oh, all of a sudden you could hear a groovy sound. Dirty left truck stood, we were found. They were finished.
Hi, this is Johnny Bergen, and we're here with No Border Blues, our video podcast. I'm here with Stephanie Tice, aka the Blues Raccoon.
That's right.
No Border Blues is a look at international blues artists you should know about and hidden blues scenes from around the world.
Johnny Bergen, thank you for that intro, is known as the worldwide West Side guitar man. He has toured and collaborated with many blues musicians in Europe, some of them here, Japan, and South America.
Stephanie Tice produced No Border Blues Japan on Delmark Records, which is the first American compilation of the underground Japanese blues scene. And that kind of led us into doing this podcast. She also got interested in international blues from her days as a DJ in KKCR in Kauai.
Today our show, sorry about that, is sponsored by the Chicago Blues Network, which brings Chicago blues to the world. And today we are happy to have Trickbag from Sweden. We have Tommy Moberg and Lars Nasman.
Hey.
Hello.
Nice seeing you guys.
It's great to see you guys. Tommy.
Yeah.
You're looking great on this election day.
Yeah.
Try not to think about it too much.
So, this is a really special guest because Sweden's had a long history with blues. In fact, the oldest blues magazine in print is a Swedish magazine, Jefferson.
It is Jefferson, yeah.
Who I love Peps Person's music. There's Sven Zetterberg, who we'll talk about. And, now really there's Trickbag, 26 years of Trickbags, 8 records, tours in the States. You've toured with so many great American artists and your other European artists. So congratulations on.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
we had a big 25th year anniversary celebration. Last October around this time last year we had a great little tour supporting a new album and just acknowledging the fact that we're 25 years into this thing which is amazing. So thank you for that and happy to be here.
You're welcome, and thank you for everything you guys have done. I mean, you guys, it's really impressive. And to see a band that's really stuck together, through the ups and downs and the thick and thin and everything, is really something. There's only a few I can think of, even in the States, like Little Ed and the Blues Imperials. They've been around. They've had this lineup for years.
Well, it's not the complete truth though, because when I started it in October '94, I was the only one that's still in the band, and it was a trio in the beginning with me on drums and vocals, and I had a guitar player and a bass player. So we were like a little blues trio or rock blues trio. We did a lot of different stuff. It was Johnny Winter, it was Little Charlie and the Nightcats tunes, it was Tony Joe White tunes, T-Birds, whatever, Stevie Ray stuff, even Ronnie Earl stuff. So it was I remember we did a song by Jay Giles Band and stuff like that. So that was the first rendition of Trickbag, and that was our first gig was 4th of October '94 here in Stockholm, Sweden. And we did the funny thing about it is we did when we did the 25th anniversary, we did it on the exact same day on 4th of October again 25 years later, but with a complete different lineup, 6 guys instead of 3. So with Lars and with the other guys. So
So I was going to ask you, tell me about where you got the name from, Trickbag.
The name, that was Tommy's. He decided that when he started the band, as this trio band. So And
Well,
he
of course
found the name from,
Yeah.
yeah, tell me.
No, tell him. You tell him.
What's the name of the guy? I mean,
Earl King, of
Earl
course.
King's
Earl King.
song Trickbag. I mean,
And the only thing I did, I put the two words together. I mean, like you spell it in the US, of course,
Trick.
with the two words. But yeah, and we just put them together, and that's it. I thought it sounded cool, and I love the song. Simple as that.
It's a great name for a band. So you got it rolling in Stockholm, and you came along, Lars, in the late 90s. Is that correct?
yeah, I mean, that had to be like 5 years later or something after the start.
Yeah, I would say like
something.
99, 20, like, yeah, 2000.
Yeah,
something like that.
I was playing with my own band back then that I had started with my brother back in '94 as well, and we played on a cool gig at Fasching in Stockholm. It's a really cool jazz club, and I remember that Tommy was there, and after the gig he was like, "Hey, I love your stuff, man." You know, so we hooked up, and then after a while we became friends, and then he was like, "Hey man, do you want to do some recordings with us?" So, and that was the second CD for Trickbag, this Afternoon Mint CD. And back then you had an electric bass player, and you wanted some upright bass stuff.
Yeah.
So I put some songs on that CD, and then just after couple of weeks after that, Tom, he didn't even ask me about joining the band. I was just, you know, he just started to hire me, and that's the start of our story together. That's been going on for over 20 years. So I start playing with them, and I mean, after that, that's history. We done so much gigs together now for like 21 years or something. Wow. Great.
By that time, were you pretty much more, I mean, you were saying when you first started Trickbag, you were playing all kinds of blues and like dabbling in all kinds of styles. And by the late 90s, when you guys started working together, was it?
It was a different style because,
blues?
as I said, I came from punk rock, going into heavy metal, going into sort of this kind of Red Hot Chili Peppers kind of style, that funk combined with rock. And then I slided into the blues. And as many of us do when we come into the blues from that direction, we go into the Johnny Winter, Stevie Ray stuff, Jimi Hendrix and whatnot, and dig deeper, which I did, of course. And we really, at the time, Lars was playing with his brother in this. We had a little wave here in Sweden of like jump blues style with Vidar Busk from Norway and a couple of other guys, Knockout Greg and Blue Weather. It was the shit. I mean, back then in the late 90s and early 20s or 2000. And it was, you know, it was the thing to do, and we loved it. So that when Lars came in, we tried to do this kind of, you know, harp oriented still, but you know, jump swinging style combined with, I mean, I guess some Chicago style. And we wrote our own songs, and yeah, so it was nothing like that first trio at all.
You know, I remember playing Trickbag on my radio station at KKCR and texting back and forth with you. And I spent some time in Norway, and I've always been interested in language. And when people do write their original lyrics, do you write first in Swedish, or are you always geared in English? And specifically, I was listening to Candyville.
Great song, by the way.
That's a great song.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Because that's an original. So really about why musicians in foreign countries always feel they have to write it in English when it comes to blues.
For me, it hasn't been an issue because I've only listened to English blues and American blues. especially. So for me, it's a no-brainer. It sounds better to me. It sounds the way it's supposed to sound. And I know a lot of my colleagues and friends here in Sweden that does it in our language, in Swedish. And somehow it always sounded a bit corny to me. Didn't, even though it's I know what they're doing, I know what they're saying, but it doesn't connect to me somehow. Even though it's my own language, I can understand why they do it. But as soon as I hear a new song that the guys are playing a new riff or something, I never think Swedish. I always try to find a cool phrase in English and work on that. So for me, it's always been like that. It's a natural thing.
I think it's been like that for the whole band since the start. I mean, when we're writing songs, we always used to do that together, of course. But it's always, I mean, as Tommy says, it's we never think to writing it in Swedish. I mean, ever. So it's just like that. And especially the Candyville song. Maybe you should tell a story about that, because that's
yeah, well, it's kind of simple. It's our people always say that or they think we're a Swedish band, and they're right to some extent, because 4 out of 6 guys is from Sweden. But we have an English man on harp and vocals.
Steve West-Weston.
Steve West-Weston, one of Europe's top-notch, that guy is up there. For me, he's up there among the top 10 list in the world in this style of playing. And then Tommy Leino, who's from Finland. So I would label us like a European band more than a Swedish band. But hey, it doesn't matter. but it is that way. And Tommy is from a small shithole in Finland called Karkkila. And that means and it was him that told us, if you translate it to English, it becomes sort of, it's like Candy Town, or a place of candy, I guess. And I was like, yeah, Candyville. So I got home and started writing that lyric about a girl here in Sweden, and a guy here in Sweden and a girl from Finland taking him to Finland, saying, here, come on, you have to see this, my little town called Candyville. So,
and we were actually, sorry to interrupt, Tommy, but we were actually, at the time, we were recording in Tommy Leino's studio in Karkkila, Candyville.
Yeah, in Candyville, yeah.
When Tommy came up with this, so,
I heard it in the introduction of the song. You can hear you guys talking, and I couldn't quite hear what the word was, and I said, that's not Swedish or Norwegian, or I couldn't, but it was.
No, I'm just counting in 1, 2, 3, 4, yksi, kaksi, kolme, and that's Finnish.
That's Finnish, is
so that's Finnish, and the album is called Candyville, and it's got fucking Californian palm trees on it. So it's like, I don't know.
That's fun.
Southern California, you played Doheny twice, which is a very major blues festival. I mean, that's a big accomplishment for anyone. And before we get too far, why don't you show us your Southern California tattoo, but let your picture.
Well, that was the first round when we were there. It was the California Tour 2012. Don't know if you can see it. And I did this before the first gig.
Yeah.
I was kind of day drunk in San Diego before our first gig. So I did the first one, and then I checked every place we were going to play. And then I wrote Burbank, and that gig was sort of, we didn't know if it was going to happen, but I just, I wanted to do it, and I did it. And then later, when I looked outside the back of the club, I saw the Hollywood sign. I was like, why the fuck didn't I write Hollywood, which would be more cooler than to write Burbank? But I did. And that's the story behind that. And so it's I hope you can see it's the state of California there.
I gotcha. That's great. And,
And
so
and there's my other.
you want to, you can take us. Oh, nice. Trickbag. You know, you
Yeah.
always had great branding. It's been a really consistent product for a long time. You know, people really are going to get when they get a Trickbag record. The artists you with are like kind of often in
We really worked in this logo, this red logo, Trickbag. Yeah.
Would you say?
It's our,
I'm sorry. Would you say?
we really worked this in. I mean, this logo, this red logo of Trickbag, we got it everywhere on all the CDs, and everything we do is always this logo. So yeah, it's kind of cool to always have it, you know.
Yeah, and it really says, like, I mean, when people see that, they know it's like a good time band. It's going to be a party.
It's a catchy name. It's a fun.
Yeah. It's going to be house rocking rhythm and blues.
House rocking rhythm and blues. Why don't you take
House rocking rhythm and blues
for a Hall of Fame? Man.
Yeah, take us on a tour in there.
I'll make you bigger here too.
Yeah.
Walk of Fame.
Wow.
You know, I've never been to your house, so yeah, check it out. So these are all the festivals you've played at, little like at the admissions and all that. And Lars, do you guys do like work out the bookings and the business together, or how do you guys split up the labor of?
Yeah, it's been working like that since I joined the band. We share the bookings and all the hard work, you know, and taking care of business for over 20 years together. So that's yeah.
That's great.
This was the Amanda's Roller Coaster, which was named the greatest harmonica show in the world. It had James Cotton and Hubert Sumlin and Lacey Lester and Billy Boy Arnold. As you can see, it was Johnny Dyer and some incredible stars on that one. And me and Lars was the only guys from Europe attending, which was kind of a highlight to us.
Oh, sure.
That was great.
Yeah. And this is some of the tour posters we've done 3 tours with John Emmett.
Yeah.
And really good friend to us. And I suppose we're going to work again in the future, I hope. And we got Kid Ramos. We did a really great tour with. We called it the Kid Ramos Blues Review. We had a horn section. It was me and Knockout Greg on vocals. Lars was, of course, there too. Gene Taylor was one of the first ones we had, and we had a great time with him as well. And this is from the With Friends Volume 1 album.
Right.
And
so many, and Bob Cortor and so many other ones, so many folks.
Whole lineup when Lars just came in, look at the youngster there. This guy just disappeared. He punched me in the face. I dropped him from the band and he disappeared. But he was a great songwriter. So he wrote all of the songs on the first 2 albums. This is from the Going Downtown album. I think it's a city view from old retro Chicago. And we have Barrelhouse Chuck, Sven Sederberg, and West Weston as special guests on that one. Then this is a dear, dear friend to the band. Rest in peace, Barrelhouse Chuck, keeping his mentor's spirit and music alive. And we've added blues doesn't get any more authentic than this. And we've done, I suppose we've done 2 or 3 tours with him. And we got some crazy stories surrounding Chuck, of course. This is the 3 Kings of Harp here in Sweden. You got Sven Sederberg, and he's we call it the Swedish godfather of blues. And then you got Knockout Greg, and we called him the middleweight champion of tone. And then we had Harmonica Henry, the wizard in technique and style. So those 3, we did a harp tour with them, basically. Little George Suref from England, really cool guy that I know a lot of Americans dig. Had a great tour with him as well. Junior Watson, the mad professor of the guitar, of course. We had a great tour with him. and so forth. We've done so many tours with other
John Primer.
King of the Eclectic Blues, James Harmon.
Nice.
Yeah, stuff like that. So that's just a small part of it. Here I got Sven Sederberg's one of his stage shirts.
Wow.
That I got to pick out after his death.
Yes.
His girlfriend wanted me to have one, which is a big honor for me. And one of the tour posters of Sven, legendary blues and soul man, it says up. And then it's from his funeral. This is the thing we got to look at when we, I guess you would say the program for the. This is a special rendition of Jefferson. They did a book of Sven. This is a fan taking a picture of me and always be one step behind Sven, of course. And backstage pass for the memory concert we had for him after his death.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite albums. I know it's Lars' favorite album as well. Let Me Get Over It. A lot of great Southern soul in there. And here I come to the album section.
Yeah.
The first album which Lars is not on is called Just Passing Through. And then Lars comes into the picture on this one. The second one, it's called Afternoon Mint. And it even has a mint caramel in the actual, it's rolling there.
Very cool.
That is super cool.
Yeah. And then you got Tailor Made, which is all about, if you turn it in, look at it, it's like tailoring stuff in there. And then this Going Downtown album with Chuck, Sven, and Steve. And then our first With Friends collaboration album with guest stars as James Harmon, Linwood Slim, John Emmett, Barrelhouse Chuck, Sven Sederberg, Wes Weston, R.J. Michaud is on this, and Bob Corritor as well. And then it's the Candyville that we talked about. It's only Trickbag on that one. It's one of our best albums, I think. Then we did a volume 2 with Kim Wilson, James Harmon, Junior Watson, Kid Ramos, Rusty Sin, Steve Geiger, Kid Anderson, Aki Kumar, and Nathan James. And this is mostly recorded in the Bay Area and Southern California. So we're really proud of this one, recorded in first ever record that we recorded outside Sweden, except Finland, of course. But so this is at Sacred Cat Studios in Oceanside, California, with Nathan James, and it's in Greaseland that you have recorded in, Johnny.
Oh yeah.
With Kid, of course, Kid Anderson. And then at last, this is the 8th album that we celebrated it's 25 years of house, rocking, rhythm and blues.
Nice.
So that's how it is, baby.
Very cool.
Oh, thank you so
So-
much for a great tour.
Thank you.
Review. So, I wish we could talk all day. I mean, we didn't even get to all the, the kind of stories that we're not supposed to talk about.
But we have to say something, I guess, about because you have a history with Barrelhouse, don't you? You I mean,
played with Barrelhouse on a show with Kim Wilson, and I've seen him perform many times. I mean, I've known him since the 90s.
Yeah.
And his passing left a huge hole in the whole blues scene nationwide. But
I mean, for us as well. I mean, he was a good friend, and when that happened, we were just empty. I mean, we were just. I have to tell you that when we did one tour with him back in Sweden, I think we did a lot of tours with him. But in my town, we have this small island. It's actually down the river. That's a small island that have shows every summer, every couple of days a week. And we had this release tour going on this downtown city. And we had Sven on the tour. We had Chuck, and it was full Trickbag band. And on the first songs of the second set, it was a beautiful sunset going on. The river was just calm, and everybody was doing well. It was packed. Everything was just so beautiful. Right in the middle of July. And we started to play the second set. And after the first song, Sven Zetterberg was running up stage because they were supposed to start playing with us on the second or the third song, whatever it was. He came running and said, "Hey, is something wrong with Chuck? I think he got a heart attack." So he had a heart attack on stage.
Oh no.
That's actually on YouTube when he's getting it. He's playing a rock and roll song, like, you know, the way he used to play, like,
Yeah.
he playing like 100% on the high notes,
Yeah.
and he's like, like that. It's somewhere out there.
My
And
God.
he just collapsed. And as he was an American, he was scared about
Going to the
the
hospital.
cost for being sick. But in Sweden we have another system. So the ambulance came, and there was a 200-meter bridge where you can't drive on. You have to walk. So they carried him 200 meters on this bridge to the ambulance.
Wow.
And he was like, "I can't afford this. I can't afford this." So he was trying to get off. And the nurse was like, "Hey, if you get off, you will die." So they kept him there, and they took him to first one hospital that couldn't help them, then to a second one, and then to a third one where they did all the surgery. And he got home like 6 days after that with medicine, and that didn't cost him a dime.
Wow. Well, there's a good system there in Sweden for healthcare.
And I met him the last day on his staying here in Sweden. That was a Sunday. I remember that because I was driving the whole day from a festival because this was a 10 days festival going on, and he got this heart attack like on the third day or something. And he was so worried about the money that he was losing. So he called me just 12 hours after the heart attack and said, "Hey, Lars, I'm okay now. Can you pick me up?" And I was like, hey, take it easy, man. Take it easy. You got a heart attack. So,
Yeah.
and he was like, "No, I'm fine now. Can you pick me up? Where are you?" And we were like 4 hours away on, the next gig. So, and I said to him, "Hey, Chuck, can I talk to your doctor?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course." And the doctor went to the phone, and he was like, "Who's this?" "Yeah, I'm just a friend of his, a friend of Chuck." And he was like, "Yeah, I just want to tell you that he's going to stay here for a couple of days because he's still having the heart attack."
That's a great story.
That's a great story.
Has something.
But it ended up good, and he flew home, and everything turned out well. But sadly, he passed away a couple of years after. But that was a mind-blowing story to be a part of. I mean, for the whole band and for all of us, and for Chuck as well. So I mean, we talked about that for many times after that.
Well, thank goodness you probably gave him the extra 2 years. So we really miss you guys, and we so enjoyed our time in Sweden together. And I was just wondering, are you working on some materials together or getting into the studio? A lot of people here, that's what they're doing. They're doing lessons or they're streaming. Everybody's being very creative under the circumstances. But I was just wondering, are you getting some material done in the meantime?
We haven't been doing much, but now when we got together again, it was like, hey, there you are. It was like, at least for me, it like awoke something that had been sleeping for a while. So I got really psyched about doing some new stuff and going into the studio, and actually we played on some riffs on sound checks and stuff.
Great.
That sounded really cool. So I was like, yeah, let's do some new stuff. So I really want to record a new album for next year, and I hope we can meet. We can have like a songwriting weekend somewhere, meet up.
That would be.
That's what we actually did with the
So is that
25th anniversary album.
third? Lock yourselves in a cabin in the woods and crank
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that. Just buy a shitload of booze and have fun.
Yeah. You go to a fishing cabin somewhere and
Yeah.
got all the beer and everything. And it's like,
It'd be really cold outside, which is not a problem here in Sweden.
Hitatur.
Yeah. It was funny that you have been living in Norway, Stephanie, for 10 years. That's insane.
11. I have my 2 children there, and we just met some Norwegian musicians, blues musicians, the Jelly Roll Men.
Yeah.
Kent Erik.
Memphis. They were up for the IBC. So we're looking forward to coming back and doing a Scandinavian tour. And I'd like to do another No Border Blues album and get into Sweden and do some recording. So that would be fun project with you guys.
So you better hook up with us then.
Yeah,
Yes.
we would be honored to be incorporated.
awesome. Well, look,
Thank you.
I want to congratulate you guys again. You had 25 great years. You've accomplished a lot, played with so many of the greats. And I was just thinking about this when you were talking about Barrelhouse Chuck, and also another example is Linwood Slim. I mean, you and work with these kind of mentors who are older than you, which is the same thing that like I got to do in Chicago. And now, like, times are changing and everyone's sort of growing into a new role, and it's bittersweet, but you can also enjoy the successes of it too. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For music over the years, and
thank you so much.
never forget the first time I heard you. Trickbag was in KKCR. They had a little area of international blues that no one touched, and I had a 2-hour show. And I was just kind of burnt out on, just playing the same blues from the United States.
He was burned out on stupid guitar players.
Bad. And so I'm so grateful for those times.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you, Johnny. We have done shows with you, both me and Lars, and we haven't mentioned that in the show, but we have done some great shows with you in Stockholm and in Järvsö and stuff like that. Hudiksvallen.
You remember, Johnny? Do you remember the club when you played in my club? When it was so hot downstairs, you almost passed out. And it was really cold outside. It was actually this next coming weekend, 4 years ago.
Yeah, I just
it was really cold outside, but inside it was like a sauna, and you were like, "My God, I have to go out."
Yeah, you almost passed out, as I remember it. You were kind of lost there for a while.
I hung. I'm like, Aki, you got to take over, man. I can't handle this.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd be the third. I don't want to be another guy to have a heart attack on you guys.
No.
Oh my God, shit! We have had enough of those. Yeah, we have a lot more where that came from, but yeah, let's save it for another day.
Yeah. Well, I love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank our Chicago Blues Network for their sponsorship, and thank you, Tommy and Lars, for joining us today from Sverige. Så tusen tack från hjärtat mitt. And jag hoppas vi ses snart.
Great.
Thank you guys. Have a great.
Thanks.
Thank you.